spot Eddie Jackson was staying in before he started making money selling drugs. You understand? He was staying right here on Benson. And like I say, this is where, before Eddie started selling drugs, his father had died and left him and his brother with a lot of property down on East Vernon and St. Antoine. But they got that money and they got completely broke. And then after that, you understand, that's when he started selling, you understand, drugs. He had got jobs, you understand, at Hearst Rental Car. He was driving cars and stuff, him and Peter Gunn. And Peter Gunn was one of the first guys started transporting dope back from New York. And like I say, it all started right here with his brother Elijah and him. And this spot up here behind this church is where the house was, where he was staying at when he first started getting money. And like I say, he was one of the baddest guys ever came through the city of Detroit because of the type of person he was. I mean, he was generous and he wasn't selfish. And he didn't believe in nobody working for him. If you tell him that, you understand, he would get pissed. He'll tell you, you understand, we hustle together. You know, don't nobody work for me. This is the type of person he was. I'm talking about, you understand, all his life. And that's the reason why people, you understand, were so crazy about him. And it's a whole lot of guys that made more money than Eddie, but ain't no guy that I can think of that have made more money than we made as far as profit-wise because of the quality drugs that we was getting. Not comparing with fentanyl. Now, back in the day, when a person OD, it sounds stupid, but a person always wants the best. They will go to the same spot where a person OD at. You understand? I want the same thing that Joe Blow, you understand, damn near killed himself. That's the way it was. And it's that way now. But back then, they was dealing with real heroin. Now, they selling fentanyl, and they nothing but pure poison. And another thing, if they know how to work with it, they can make money with it. But now these guys out here don't know nothing about no drugs as far as mixing it. You know, it's a difference. Because like I say, the shit we was getting was strong, just as strong as this fentanyl. Like I just said, we was putting an 81 on 1 quarter. We would take 81 quarters and put it on 1 quarter raw. So like I said, you know how strong the shit was we had, but it was real drugs. That's the reason why we was able to throw money out the windows and shit. We would throw 30, 40,000 out the window, you understand, at least twice a week. On Woodward, John I, all downtown by the Brewster Projects. And I'm gonna show you the spots where we was at. And this right here is where he was staying at, right here, on Benson. This where it started at, right here. Right. This is when Eddie Jackson Jr. was a baby at the time. You know, so this is where it started at, right here.
So what you were telling me about this?
In 1999, in my second indictment, me and Otis, you understand, was getting plenty of cane from the Mexicans. And like I say, one particular incident, I'm talking about the one, you understand, when I got indicted. I was dealing with this young lady, you understand, she was close to my nephews and stuff, and her name was Jackie. And like I say, she must have caught a case. She was dealing with some Africans. And I was getting heroin from her because we didn't have that at the time. And she wanted to get some cocaine from me. She knew I had plenty of it. And this particular house right here, at that time, I was using that for a stack spot. And me and my son was making a run. And she was supposed to meet me here. And so when she came back to this house. And when I came back, she came to the house and she had an agent in the car. And I didn't know it was an agent when she had kind of parked the car down the street. And I had about 40, 50 keys of cane at this particular location. And my son must have had about 30 at his house. But this particular, for some reason, I changed this, got all the stuff out the house, and my son had moved all the stuff out of his house. About 3 days later, the feds hit this house. And like I say, that's how I caught my second case. Think you dealing with people you understand that you can trust. But that's the only people that can fuck you up is the people that you trust. Because you ain't gonna deal with nobody you don't trust. But I'm just saying that was the second incident when I got indicted. This way is at, right here, this particular house. And like I said, I ended up getting a case. They let my son go. But this is one particular time, you understand, part of my life, you understand, as far as fucking with drugs.
What's happening, family? It's your man, CRB Jr., Courtney Robert Brown Jr., here with my main man, Uncle Tommy Sharp, a.k.a. the Black Dispatch, a.k.a. Black Butch, you know, an absolute street legend, you know, helped run the show with Eddie Jackson back in the day, then went on to have a long, storied career in these streets here in Detroit. You know, he's an absolute librarian of how this thing really happened. And not just what happened in the streets, but all of what the entertainers, when Detroit was at its peak. So we're talking about Henry's Lounge, Phelps, Ben's High Chaparral.
That's where we're at now.
And in fact, so take it from here, Unc. But make sure before we get started, guys, make sure you're hitting that like, share, and subscribe button. We appreciate all the support and love we've been getting. We're going to keep this thing going. Uncle Butch is going to get a lot more coming for us. So take it from here.
This spot right here, back in the early 70s, this is where all the happening was at. As far as with the entertainers, from the 20 grand to Ben's. They was about the two biggest clubs as far as entertainment back in the early 70s. And like I say, then Ben had an after-hour joint upstairs after the club closed down. And I mean, you understand, like I was saying before, all the entertainers used to come in the city. Me and Eddie used to fly them with cocaine because there was a drug at the time, you know. And like I say, you understand, we used to give it to them most of the time. You understand? Now, like the last incident as far as with Teddy Pendergrass, me and him was real close. The last time I seen him, he ended up owing me $5,000 before he died. You understand? But like I said, that ain't no thing because hey, money was coming and going at that time. And Big Butch and his brother Watusi and Brown Sugar, they was running the joint upstairs, you understand, after the club closed down.
So I'm sorry, Unc, so you saying that Watusi and Big Butch,
they was brothers.
They was brothers.
Right. And they used to crap.
And they had the after-hour joint above the club?
That's right.
Okay.
And Brown Sugar, you understand, used to control, you understand, the crap table. You understand? And like I said, Brown Sugar, he's another person to talk about as far as back in the day. His name, you understand, go all across country. You understand? Brown Sugar, that's my man. But like I say, back in that time, you understand, I was the only one going to the after-hour joint. Courtney, he always stayed at home. The only time Eddie would come to an after-hour joint, when I'd be missing, he would be looking for me. He was paying motherfuckers instead to find out where I was. And then, back in that day, the police, they had a crews of police that was robbing us. Whenever they see us, they would try to, understand, you know, get money from us and stuff like that. On the weekends, as far as one of the joints that we had, we used to pay them, you understand, $30,000 a week. I used to meet them in the Eastern Market, and I'll show you the spot that we was in, where they raided it and sold the dope back to us. You know, but like I said, this is one of the spots where all that happened was back in the 70s, right here, Ben High Chaparral.
When did they close up here?
I can't remember exactly what year it closed down. And the head barmaid was Crystal. She got the club right today over there on Mount Elliott and the Boulevard, Crystal. You understand? She got her own club now. She was the head barmaid right here at Ben's.
They say Ben helped Al Green get started.
I heard that. I don't know for sure, but I heard that.
That's what the rumor is.
Ben helped a lot of entertainers, you understand? You know, he was a hell of a guy, you know? He always stayed right there at 1300 Lafayette. That's where he stayed there for years, even up to the time he died.
Ben's High Chaparral.
Ben's High Chaparral, right.
Famous joint.
This spot here, it was a hell of a spot back in the day.
All right, Unc, thank you so much. So we're gonna keep it going. So I believe y'all already did. You showed them where it all got started over there with Benson's Street.
This way it was.
Eddie first got his thing popping. He ain't dressed for this.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
yeah. So no, that's a good thing, So a lot of history right here, man. I don't think people understand that one time in your day, Detroit was a hell of a town, wasn't it?
I don't think it was enough of the city. I'm talking about even were talking about New York. Now, you know, New York is a seaport town, just like London.
Right.
But as far as cities, Detroit is the #1 city as far as hustlers coming from in the United States. I'm not gonna lie to you. And like I say, I done said this quite a few times. It's a whole lot of guys that made money.
This time, yeah.
And there's a whole lot of guys that had more money than Eddie. But ain't no guy that made more money than Eddie as far as profit-wise because of the things that we was doing. And I'll bet you my life on that.
Well, the government agree with you. The government say y'all was the biggest organization in the state of Michigan without doubt. And according to the federal government's case, y'all was the biggest thing in all whole Midwest.
And I used to pick Eddie up from the time he get up until the time he go to bed at night. He didn't make a move without me. Not a move. And like I say, I was the youngest one out the crew. You understand? Because he didn't even let me, you understand, do no hustling. Because he was so close to my mama. My mama told me, said, boy, I'm going to kill you if you start my son to selling drugs. But like I say, you know how things happen. Every day the same.
So this neighborhood was still full with people.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about there was no vacant lots and nothing around here. And none of these spots. When you see these vacant lots, it was nothing vacant. Nothing at all. Everything was open. The 70s, you understand, was a hell of a year. You understand that? The 70s, man, it'll never be like that again. Never. Never in life. And then two, you cannot, you understand, hustle and get money in one spot like we was doing. We had one spot on Hancock. We was getting anywhere from 100 to 150,000 every day out of one house on China and Hancock.
We have to go by there.
We're gonna go down there where Eddie had it. His daddy had all that property and shit on Vernon. We're gonna show you where it all started at, the valley.
All right, history lesson. Black Butch, Detroit street historian. Only here, live at Big Boss Filmworks. Make sure, again, family, make sure y'all hitting that like, share, and subscribe button. Keep it going. We're going to answer some questions because y'all been hitting us up, and we appreciate the support in the comment channel. We're going to get back, answer some of the questions, and Uncle Butch about to go back on location for us.
And oh yeah, let's get them Facebook lights up.
Oh yeah, make sure y'all following us on Facebook too. We appreciate all the love we getting on Instagram. But we on, what are we at Facebook? What's the address?
What is it, like 500? We got to
the address. The Big Boss at Facebook?
Oh yeah, facebook.com /Big Boss Filmworks USA.
So yeah, make sure you guys are checking us out on Facebook and on YouTube. And when you're on Facebook, make sure you're hitting that like button. Help us get to where we already got on YouTube, on Facebook. We real close family, for real. Starting to put some live content together. We're gonna have, you know, some of you young actors out there who think y'all might be able to play Uncle Butch back in his prime. We have to recast Butch now as an older character. But for real, we've been talking about this movie thing. You know, we're still negotiating with some of the other people, but our father Butch, let's take on us. We might just have to go ahead on family and do it ourselves. You know, because you know we do that. We put our money where our mouth is. So if you're a young actor, you think you could play a young Eddie Jackson, you think you could play a young Courtney Brown, you think you could play a young Tommy Sharp, aka the Black Dispatch, shoot us an email. We're gonna start taking some casting calls. We're ready to start doing some short movies on the history of Eddie, Butch, and my father, till we can get this thing done to the full-length motion picture. So that's all jokes aside. Young ladies, young fellas, you know, if you're rapping, if y'all on IG doing your modeling, if y'all familiar with the story, shoot us an email at bigbossfilmworks@yahoo.com, because we about to start putting this thing down. Appreciate you guys. Holla. Peace.
We standing in front of the new booster projects. This is where we was getting all our money at back in the day. This is where we were getting 80% of the money back in the day. And I don't know exactly this is the right spot, but it was a manhole, a sewer, right here. Police had caught me one night, you understand, and threatened to put me in it until, you understand, Eddie, you understand, sent some money, you understand, to let me go. You understand, because they used to be down here all the time trying to catch us, you understand, picking up money and different things. And like I say, it was so many police that was out here hustling. They was getting more money than the motherfucking police. They was doing their job as far as hustling than doing the job they're supposed to do. And like I say, man, you understand, Al Finch, he got robbed more than anybody. They used to catch him coming out of his restaurant on Mount Carmel and Brush. That's where he was getting all his money at. They done caught him 2 or 3 times, you understand, where he done picked up 200,000 or 300,000, but they might get 100,000 at a time. But that was one of their biggest jobs, you understand, trying to, you understand, catch us with money. Because certain ships, we wouldn't even come down here because we know they would be down here. And this spot right here is where they had put me in the sewer, you understand, demanding money for him to let me go. And like I say, this is the spot right here on Chrysler Freeway.
So what? So about what year was that about with the manhole incident where they?
That was about 74. 74.
So y'all was at mid-stride back then, though, right?
Around that time, yeah. And like I said, just naming a few people that was getting money down here from us. Greg Nielsen, his whole family.
That's Greg, Rose.
Rose.
I know my father.
I forgot his other brothers, right. See, Courtney, you understand, he was being connected with them more than you was. I would just drop it off to him a lot of times. But like I say, you understand, Big Nose, that's Lawrence and KK. Daddy, you
he was down here in the
He was down here in the process, right.
Now, Dodo was not...
Pat Robb family.
So TD,
Joe, you understand, all of them was brothers. Boo-Boo, all of them was brothers, you understand. And
like all Detroit street legends.
Right.
Here.
And like I say, the Robley family, I was real close to them. Their mama, you understand, her name was, we used to call her Shape. You understand? But like I say, man, I was close to a lot of these parents because I was real cool with them. You know, and like I say, you know, it's so many of them, you understand? And Fat Pat, you understand? He was
down here,
he was down here in the Brewster too, you know. Jerry Bunny, but see, Jerry Bunny is from the Valley, down where I grew up at, down in, you understand?
Now, he worked kind of close with y'all.
Jerry Bunny, you understand, and CDL, Jap, all of us was real close, you understand? And Jerry Bunny, you understand, he was hustling out of the 448. That was a hotel, you understand, where all the prostitutes used to be at. And like
what street was that on?
That was on Mount Carmel and St. Atwine.
Okay, yeah. We
right.
Junior, we was getting into trouble. And we couldn't even do nothing over there because they'd be like, I know your daddy, I know your daddy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, y'all was famous over there.
Yeah, like I said.
The cleaners over there that they used to go to.
I'll show you the cleaners in a minute because I had property across the street from the cleaners. And 5-0 had property behind the cleaners. All of us had property down here. 5-0, me, you understand? And Dodo had more property than any. All of us together. Dodo had damn near 70% of the property down here.
What's not Comerica Park, right?
Right. That's where I was staying at right there. Me and my mother, we was right there at Comerica Park.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, you know, it's this street thing, Detroit at one time when it was in its heyday, and Butch and my dad and Eddie's day, you know, it affected how Detroit is today.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, you understand, we used to go to Coffee Cadillac and buy, I'm not exaggerating, we used to go down there and buy 10, 15 Cadillacs at one time and pay cash.
Well, you know, the Detroit News had wrote that at one time Eddie Jackson had 100 Cadillacs on the street.
Oh, yeah. Because
that's about right,
That's about right. Everybody that was in our crew was getting a Cadillac. Eddie yesterday, he was a silly motherfucker. He'd tell a motherfucker, if you're going to ride with me or run with me, you got to ride a Cadillac. You know, back in the day, a Cadillac was a hell of a car. And then we had phones in the car. We had a phone in every one of our cars.
Wow.
Back in that day. And I'm talking about, we used to come through this neighborhood and just throw money out the window, the moon roof.
So this was one of y'all stomping grounds with some of them famous stories of you and Eddie riding, throwing monies.
This is where we were. I'm going to show you, understand, on Woodward in a few minutes, exactly where we was doing it. In John R., that was the avenue where all the niggas had sacks at. I mean, there was so many niggas down here getting sacks, had sacks, was getting money. The Godfather, Ron Seacrest, just naming some of them, Times Square Bob. Like I said, a lot of them understand came to me, but like I said, man, it's a whole lot of guys that was getting money. Eddie Seals, he was one.
Now, I think in Doc Davis' thing, even when he was young, he cut his, right when I was over there, he was talking when he was over on Erskine.
Right, what he told me, I know Doc, we were cool too. He was getting money, you understand? Like I say, he always, you understand, was quiet. I mean, he was undercover, you understand? He wasn't flashy and shit at the time, but he was getting money too. You understand? He had to connect over in Amsterdam. You understand? Like I say, he was a major player in the city of Detroit, Doc had.
So all this was happening before later, you know, with this BMF thing coming out, and they used to talk about how they wanted to grow up to be the Young Boys.
Right.
Everybody know the Young Boys story. The Young Boys came down here to the Brewsters. But Joe generation had already set up the Brewsters as a money-making operation.
Oh, yeah, we did that. Strata Bush, Frigga Steve, and Red George. All of them, you understand? Like I say, I can go on and on. And Butch Harris and Reno, they was with Maurice Downs out in California.
Now, Maurice Downs, he's in that article that they ranked the top 10.
Right.
Good, yeah.
And like I say, Reno, he's still living. You understand? Like I say, when Reno and Butch and them left Detroit, they had a record shop right there at Motown building right there on Woodward and the Fisher Freeway.
We did some taping there, Lou, with your United Sound.
Right.
Our producer.
Helliver. Big shout out to Helliver.
Big shout out to Helliver. Yeah.
See,
we did
Butch
some
Harris,
taping there.
well, back in the 70s, Butch Harris had a record shop right there in that building.
Yeah.
That before he left and went to California. Joe Pep with the Undisputed Truth. I talk to him every day. You understand? He got caught up the case with Butch Harris and all them. You know, like I say, I can go on and on, you understand?
Joe Pep, we reached out to you when we got some more stuff coming your way. Uncle Butch, we need to bring Joe in on some of the next stuff.
I talk to Joe just about every other day, you know?
Yeah.
But like I say, you understand, you know, I can, it's so many guys that was getting money down here that I can't remember all of them.
Yeah, we're going to have to sit down and have you break down the whole history.
Yeah, but like I say, you know, damn near everybody that was getting money down here, man, I was close to them. You know, I had a good relationship with a lot of guys, you know. Jabbo, you understand, X, Papa Dupree, Edward Dupree, all of them, you understand. You know, Papa is the one that brought Miss Jones to the projects.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Because back in the day, you understand, you just couldn't come in the Brewster Project and come down here and sell no dope. You understand?
You know somebody.
Right, and like I said, Papa the one brought the Young Boys down here. You know, see, we was before with the Young Boys. You understand? I'm talking about the Chambers, but we was the #1 crew as far as the city of Detroit getting big money.
Family, we need you. If you're an Instagram model, Instagram actor, aspiring actor, rapper, we're going to need you soon. I'll start auditioning to play the young Tommy Sharp, a.k.a. the Black Dispatch, to play the young Courtney Brown, the Field Marshal, to play the Fat Man himself. We got some things coming. We got some short movie projects coming as we set up to do the full-length movie. So make sure you hit us up, Big Boss Filmworks at yahoo.com, for real, or inboxes at the YouTube station. Make sure y'all hitting that like, share, and subscribe button. Uncle Butch gonna continue to give us the real history of the game, real history of this town. Appreciate you, Uncle.
All right.
Okay.
I'm right here on the corner of Brush and White. This is where I had property downtown. I had a hotel right here. I had 52 units in this building where the spot is at right here. They used to call it the Shady Rest. And I had a couple of properties on this street here. Now behind, right here, across Brush, 50 used to own them buildings over there, where that big lot is over there. And that building to the right over here, that used to be the neighborhood cleaners. His name was George. All of us used to do all our business with him. I mean, he just sold that property a few years ago. But this whole neighborhood, you understand, is where we all growed up at. On the other side of the Fisher Freeway, that's what they call the valley. That's where Eddie and all of us, everybody that was in our crew, stayed on the other side of the Fisher Freeway. And this street here is Brush. To the left, you understand, from San Antoine all the way to Brush. Eddie's father must have owned about 20 houses over there. So when he died, Eddie and his brother Lodge, they inherited all that money. That was before he started getting money. And like I said, when he did start making money with drugs, he had a lot to back him because he already had, on paper, they had got a lot of money when his father died. But this neighborhood down there where Coromega Park at, that's where I grew up at, with me and my mother. That's where me and Eddie used to stash hundreds of thousands down there. And by the neighborhood, number of prostitutes and hoes. And my mother's house was all the prostitutes that come to our house because she used to feed everybody in the neighborhood. She used to love to cook. And like I say, a lot of the hustlers used to come over there and talk to her and stuff. Charles Holloway used to come see my mother every day. Milwaukee Jack, treacherous. Any guy, you understand, that was getting money back in the day used to stop and talk to my mother. That's how close she was to everybody, you know. And like I say, this neighborhood, it'll never be a neighborhood like this here. This is where Vernon is Fisher Freeway now. But Eddie Fowler had a pool room on the corner of San Juan and Fisher. But like I say, this neighborhood here, blacks used to own all this. I mean, everything down here. You understand? But now, look at this neighborhood. But when I had my property and stuff, we all know that it was coming through here with something. But I ended up getting indicted, and lost everything I had. But like I said, that's the story. As far as the property down here. But this neighborhood down here, this is where we all growed up at. Everybody was in our crew was down here. Peter Gunn, he used to take care of my property and stuff. He was one of the main #1 drivers. And Dean Robert Robertson, he was another one used to drive too. And I was the #1 person, you understand, going back and forth in and out of town. I used to understand, deliver drugs, you understand, Indiana, Ohio, Virginia, Philadelphia. I mean, all the way down, you understand, in Alabama. You understand? Like I say, it's a lot of states that I was going transporting dope, you understand, back in the day.
So this is considered the Black Bottom,
this
for those who don't know.
Right. And like I say, our neighborhood, we used to have they used to call us the Valley Boys. And like I say, you understand, you know, the Brewster Projects had a reputation too. But like I say, they didn't fuck with the Valley Boys, you understand? I'm talking about, you understand, like I say, when we used to fight, they ain't pulling no pistols and shit. We used to go in and understand with our fists and stuff. But we was real close though. You know, and Huckabuck, that was my main man. Huckabuck, you understand? Duck Trice, all of them. And Pat Robb, you know? Like I said, I was close to a lot of them, man.
So now, tell me this, just for the historians. We got the Black Bottom. We're right here in the Black Bottom. What was Paradise Valley?
This is the same area back on the other side of Fisher Freeway. It used to go from Adams all the way up to Forest. They used to call it Paradise Valley. You understand? There used to be a lot of clubs down here, 606 Lounge, all them places, you understand? The Church Bar, the Verna Bar. I mean, Heatwave Bar used to be right down here on Butch. That was our name. That was our #1 spot, Heatwave. And I can't forget about Zach Gary. That was a 5-0 brother. Junior Gary. All them Garys was getting money. Charlie Gary too. All of them. You understand? We had a tight, you understand, crew. We
had a tight crew.
And like I said, it was 32 people indicted in our crew. Did not one person snitch.
Yeah, try hearing that nowadays.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna hear too much of that.
Yeah, but like I say, they used to call it the Valley too down here where I grew up down here. And Dodo had before he got killed, he had sold it before. He had
now wait a minute, let's back it up. Can you break down to the good people who Dodo is?
Dodo, you understand, his last name is Foster. He's from the Brewster Projects. He had a big family. And Dodo, you understand, they used to have a restaurant on Brush and Alfred, right around the corner from Strata Bush Pool Room. And Dodo, you understand, ended up getting a lot of property down here. I'm gonna show you some of the property Dodo had before he got killed. He ended up, you understand, he had the Fine Arts Theater on Woodward too. He had that. And he had, it used to be the Vince's Bar on John R. and Mount Calm. He turned it to Vince's, I forgot what else to change the name to, but it used to be the Purple Onion, you understand? But Dodo used to have that. Dodo had a lot of property down there and big buildings. You know, he got killed. You understand? He got killed right in his laundromat. All this is going to show you where Dodo had property. This corner. So that building right there, no, you can take a picture from right there and go this way. That's where his girlfriend got killed at right there. And that doorway right there. She got killed a week after he got killed. All this right here was Dodo property right here. All this here. Oh, he got killed right there where that white door at right there. All that was his door. all them houses over there, all the historical houses right there, all that used to be dope. This right here is John R. This was the avenue here. This is where we used to sell all the drugs in, down here. This was a one-way back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
This was a one-way coming this way, and I mean, it used to be all storefronts over here. And I'm talking about, it was just drugs on both sides of the street.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I say, Dodo, you understand, probably had some of them buildings over there too. And on Edmond here, see them buildings right here, to the right? Them historical buildings right there, he used to have all those too. Can you see the property that nigga had?
Yeah, man.
This right here, it was the motherfucker, this right here was the run right here. It was storefronts. This right here was the main spot, right in here. There used to be a traffic light right here. And I mean, this is where, you understand, all the happening was going on. Right here. Willie Lee had a building right there. Times Square Bob used to be there.
I heard that name, Times Square Bob.
Yeah, he used to be, this was his building right here. All this, it was after our joint. All this. You know, he used to have the property right next door where it used to be the Blackjack Club on John R.
That's what's happening. Well, hey, Butch, thanks a lot for this. We're going to keep it going. This is Lou at Big Boss Filmworks. If you get a chance, check us out on Facebook. We need to get them Facebook likes up. Subscribe, like, share, smash the notification bell so you know when we got new content coming up. And we're looking for actresses, actors. We're looking for new talent to grace Big Boss. Hit us up at BigBossFilmworks@yahoo.com. And we got more to come. So we're back on to it. I'll holler at you in a minute.
And John R., this is where we was getting all our money at. Right here with this parking lot at, down a little farther. The house used to be about halfway Rush and John R. We used to get anywhere, like I said, 150,000 to 150,000 to 150 to 150,000 a day in one single house on this block here. Police used to station, try to catch us dropping it off, and we was selling so much drugs that we wasn't having to drop it off. We used to drop it off in keys and mix it upstairs and send the package downstairs because it would be too much transfer bringing it back and forth. We would make one drop. All we did was just pick up money.
Left on this block?
Yeah. Like I said, it would be one drop, and all we did was just pick up. All right, this lot right here is where Eddie had a building. I think it was about four floors in this building. And we used to stash a lot of stuff in this building. This is back in the 70s. But after Eddie came home from jail, after he did his first bit, I wasn't too close around him. I was doing business with him, but I wasn't as close to him as I was at first. And an agent had moved into this building and got close to the family and everything. But Eddie had a good sense about feeling people. When he first saw this guy, he had, you understand, mentioned that guy is an FBI agent, so he's an agent. But anyway, Eddie still, we understand, you know, went past that and everything. And the guy had got to be real close. And he has tried to do some business with Eddie, but he just still kept it cordial with him and everything. But anyway, Eddie was so wild when he came back from the first bit. You know, Eddie, he never did really respect the police even from day one, you understand? So he had got so hot, they had every phone booth on Hamilton from here all the way down to the lodge, down to Cavalry, because that's where he was going, making his phone calls hooking up, you know, with his peoples and stuff. And they had every phone booth on Hamilton bugged. And like I say, he had a feeling that agent wasn't right. But anyway, he went past that. And that's he caught the second case. And I went to jail on the second case myself. Because, you understand, they had a conversation with me and him talking in a car. So they had all our cars bugged. And you know, and like I say, that's how I got caught up the second case that Eddie had.
Now, was that 32-man case?
That was the first case. The second case, you understand. But I see, I had another case after that was the third case. Second case with me, but it was I went with Eddie on the second case with me. You understand? The first case I had, that's when I went to jail in '83 when I got indicted.
Gotcha.
You understand? But like I say, Eddie, you understand? He went to jail and came out, and he went right back in. He came home. He went in '76 and he came out in '83, and I think he went back in '85.
I see. So now I'm a transition, and we were talking about Pep. You and Pep.
Oh yeah, Pep. I met Pep in jail, because me and Pep was in the same case with Eddie. And I met Pep, you understand, in jail. And I come to find out, you understand, Pep is a stand-up guy. Me and him got to be real close, you understand, because when he went to jail, me and him got closer. He went to telling me about niggas thought he was snitching and all that. And I told him, and me and him, you understand, we did that bit together. And like I say, he come to find out, you understand, all that shit was nothing but talk. Pep, you understand, ain't never said nothing about nobody, because I was on the same case with him, you understand. And I talked to Pep to this day. You can't find no better person than Pep. Pep was my man.
Bound by glory, torn by greed. That's his book.
Yeah.
Check it out. This is Big Boss Filmworks. I'm Lou, and this is the Black Dispatch. Much respect. We got a couple more stops on our tour of Motown Mafia. 10-year anniversary of the film. And the next stop, Butch.
We're going to Hamilton 6 Mile.
Get in the center.
We're on 6 Mile in Hamilton. This is one of the buildings that me and Eddie had back in the 70s. This right here was a key location. When I used to go to New York, you understand, and bring the package in, this is one of the first stops I would make in this building. This is where we would, you understand, stash it. After I get through packaging it and everything, we used to just hide it in the basement in this building here. And like I say, you understand, I mean, this building here, then, hey, we done stored so much drugs in the basement of this building over the years, from the 60s up until 76, you understand? You wouldn't believe it. I'm talking about millions and millions of dollars of drugs that was stashed in this basement, in this building on Hamilton, and it's 6 Mile. This is one of the buildings that we had.
This is a beautiful building right here, but we went to some spots that are no longer there, like have been decimated. That the crack era destroyed that area, that whole Paradise Valley, before it's got bought up. And give me your take on the crack epidemic.
That question that you just asked, understand, that's the truth. You know, let me tell you something. Back in the day when we were selling millions and millions of dollars of drugs, it was no no vacant fields nowhere. That didn't just started happening. Then when that crack, hit the streets, which was in the '78, that's when that shit, started happening. I'm talking about, you understand, they was burning down more, in the crack. They was burning down property, everything. All kind of crimes started happening, you understand, when that crack came out, you understand, because that crack destroyed the whole city of Detroit, not just Detroit, all over the country. Anywhere you go where drugs is at, you understand, we got the same problem, you understand, vacant fields and everything. Crack burnt down the whole world, Crack is the worst thing that ever came out with. It really was. I just had to make a speech on this building here. This building right here, I'm just showing you how good it is, some good-hearted people in this world. Gene Moore used to own this building. It didn't look like this here when Gene had it, But I just had to stop here and mention this to you because Courtney Brown, you understand, had just got out of jail and messed around and caught another case. And he was living in this building before he went to jail. He was in jail for about 7 years. Gene kept his apartment till the day he got out. I mean, did no one go in that apartment from the whole while Courtney was locked up until the day he got out. You understand? And you tell me about a person like that. That's the way Mr. Moore worked. You understand? And it speaks for itself. If you know just a little things about him, you'll know what type of person he is. Gene Moore. That's my man. He's one of a kind. And strictly business.
If you all get a chance to check it out, we did a piece on Mr. Moore. It's called "The Man Who Owned Detroit." Check it out, Big Boss Filmworks, and hopefully we can score an interview with him soon. All right, much love, people.
We're on Oatman and Ewald Circle. This was Eddie Batcave. This is where he used to spend all his time at. Most of his time with Fair Lee. She was the first person that got caught a case with him. She got busted in New York on the airplane. And like I say, you understand, they damn near tortured that woman, you understand, tried to get her to talk on him, and she never did break. You understand? Like she used to send mail to him, and they would stop all his mail coming to her from Eddie. They were trying to make her think that he just had forgot about her. And I'm talking about everything they did to her, you understand, she still didn't break. She didn't say a word about Eddie, you understand. Fair Lee was one of the strongest ladies that you ever seen in your life, you understand. The only thing I hated about the whole operation was when she got out of jail, he didn't set her up the way he should have, you understand, because she was a real stand-up person. Fair Lee. I used to take her mama to see her, you understand, when she was locked up in Virginia. You understand? Fair Lee just died a few years ago. But Fair Lee, you understand, was a straight person, you understand. I used to come over here, you understand, and drop Eddie off like on a Friday, and he might stay there until the next Friday, you understand. You know, and anything they need, I made sure somebody bring whatever they need. You know, and like I say, I was making all the trips out of town, you understand. And like I say, I was the mule. I was the one, you understand, going to New York, copying, bringing it back, cutting it, and dropping it off. And I would make 2 trips a week sometime, you understand? Before I get back to Detroit, the shit be sold before I even get back, you understand? And like I say, you understand, but like I say, I had protection all the way from to get out of New York. When I got ready to go over the George Washington Bridge, I was on my own then. But other than that, you understand, they made sure, you understand, I was protected. I didn't have no problems with the police or nobody, you understand? That's the kind of protection they had on us. And they loved Eddie. They loved him, you know, and like I say, you understand, he was one of a kind. Eddie Jackson.
Now I remember they were talking about one of the 5 families. Do you remember which of the 5 families?
We was dealing with the Gambino family.
Gambino.
That's what we was dealing with.
Oh yeah, Doc and Bruno.
Right. And anytime Eddie had any problems with them, I was the one to go up in New York and let them know what was going on. I'm talking about I'd have been in some heated arguments with them, you understand? But like I say, you understand, hey, one thing I loved about Eddie, he ain't asked nobody that was in our organization to do anything that he wouldn't do. That's one thing that I loved about him. He didn't feel like, you understand, he was too good to do anything. Eddie had more heart than any guy you ever seen in your life and didn't take no shit.
One night at the Thunderbird Hotel, Frank ran into Eddie Jackson and Courtney Brown, who were the 2 biggest dealers in Detroit. And they struck up a conversation.
This black guy standing at the table, he got a pocket for a handful of money, gambling. Eddie sees him over there, and he don't know who he is, and he said, what is he betting on? And he said, I'm betting against it. And then finally the guy said, hey homie, where you from?
I'm not for sure what year it was. I think it was 1973 or 1970. No, I think it was 1973. That's when we all got arrested in Vegas. around Christmas time, because every Christmas, you understand, all the big drug dealers and number men would be out there in Vegas.
And he said, I'm from Detroit. And he said, I'm from New York. He said, my name's Frank. Frank Matthews? Yeah, man, you know me? I said, no, but we got some mutual friends that know you.
But like all drug traffickers, eventually the party's over. No matter how far behind law enforcement is, they eventually catch up with the bad guy.
Matthews was in Las Vegas during the first few days of January 1973, and at this time, an indictment came out in New York against him.
Next morning, Las Vegas headlines. New York kingpin, Frank Matthews arrested with $25,000, girlfriend, so forth.
In this particular year, you understand, the feds, they round up every drug dealer in Vegas. And we got locked up in this cell. It was me, Courtney Brown Sr., Eddie Jackson, and Frank Matthews.
He was arrested in Las Vegas by local DEA agents.
The judge leveled a bond of $5 million, which was unheard of at the time. It was the biggest bond in history.
The $5 million bail was the highest at the time established for a person in the United States.
Which, if you were to level that bond today, it'd be $30 million.
Matthews, when he was arraigned, said, how am I going to pay that? And the IRS agent said, preferably in cash, Mr. Matthews.
And like I say, that's the same year that he was he left the country. And like I said, we all was in there for about a whole day together. That was the first time I ever met Frank. And we did a lot of talking that day. And, you know, and like I say, you understand, after that, he was just like a ghost.
And it was all over the news about a major drug dealer who was captured in Las Vegas. And then I started getting phone calls from people. I got phone calls from my parents in Florida. I got phone calls from friends who knew, did you hear, turn on the radio? And it was him. And my first reaction was I was disappointed because I wanted the job.
He gets down to Clark County Jail. There's Frank Matthews. Goddamn, homie, they got y'all too? Yeah, I say, man, why you telling you was hot?
What were some of the things you talked about?
We just talk about, you understand, why the feds always, you understand, try to lock, you understand, black peoples up, you understand, because they're handling money. You understand, because all of us had money, and we was all out and losing money, you understand. $100,000 was nothing to lose, and like I said, he probably would have lost way more money than that. And I come to find out who he really was when he was in jail. You understand, at that time, you understand, as far as my knowledge, he was bigger than Eddie.
He was a big fish.
Yeah, he was a big one. You see, he was way bigger than Eddie. Because this man, you understand, he was getting shit directly from South America. You understand, he had the whole East Coast, you understand, where he was supplying. Frank was a big Frank. He was a big fish. And him and John Claxton is the only two guys that I ever know, you understand, that was wanted, and ain't nobody never seen them since. And John Claxton was the guy that Eddie started copying from. That's where Eddie started making all his money, you understand, before he got with. Because when he got with, he already was rich. And he got that, you understand, he made that money from John Claxton. You know, and John Claxton had been already locked up. And when he got out of jail, Eddie was telling him, man, you got to change things. You can't do it the same way you used to do it. And he just wouldn't listen. And he ended up catching another case. And have nobody seen him since, John Claxton.
Disappearing at.
That's right.
All right.
What's happening, family? It's your man, CB Jr., Courtney Robert Brown Jr., here with the family. We got, as you already, most of y'all know, the legendary Tommy Sharp, a.k.a. the Black Dispatch, Black Butch, you know, #1 lieutenant to Eddie Jackson, and then went on to, of course, write a whole nother legacy, interacting with every major player that came through this town in the last, basically, half a century. Then we got his son, Cousin Pease, right here. What's happening, Pease? Long time, man. We good to see you. Yeah. Good son, you know, family. And you've heard us talk about Otis. Everybody kind of know that we're around the street. Remember when Otis was out here doing his thing? You know, that was his main man. Butch obviously was his main man. And then we right here in front of the Wall Street Bar. Those who saw the episode we did on Money Mondays, Talking about the legendary Detroit investor, Mr. Eugene Moore. This is one of his establishments still here, Wall Street Bar. You know, as they call him, the Wizard of Wall Street. He's a black man that has made a fortune investing in the stock market in this bar here. But I'm gonna let Unc take it from here and let Peace chime in. Tell the family about you, Gene, Otis, Wall Street, y'all bars, and all to go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna go with Gene Moore. He's a hell of a guy. Gene damn near owned every bar in the city of Detroit, quiet as a kept.
Quiet as a cat.
And I'm talking about, you understand, on 8 Mile, all those titty bars and Dearborn, 8 Mile, a lot of people don't know. Gene owned those bars. You understand? And damn near all, if he don't own the bars, most of the liquor license is in his name. Like I said, he's a real shrewd businessman. He ain't gonna sell nothing. He got the first dollar that he had when he first made. Gene is a hell of a guy. But I want to go, and Gene was real close to Otis, which was my partner. Otis was just like a son to Gene. I'm talking about anything that Otis needed or whatever, Gene would give it to him. I'm talking about they were so close. And then, like I say, me and Otis is just like brothers, you understand? I was the best man at his wedding, he was the best man at mine. And like I said, as far as my son, you understand, when I ended up going to jail, I had told Otis and I told my son, hey, stay close to Otis, man, you understand? Because sometimes Otis would get out of his lane. And like I said, he was one of the best persons you ever met in your life. And the day that Otis got killed, I'm gonna leave it over to my son. My son was with Otis that day when it happened.
Yeah, I was with Otis that day. Me and Otis got together he called me around 7 o'clock in the morning and told me to meet him at his house. I get out to his house, he outside washing his car. He had just bought that 2-seater Benz, SL 500. Yeah. It was powder blue, it was pretty. He was out there washing his car. Me and my wife had pulled up and we was juggling. I was messing with him, messing around with him, talking shit to him. And he told me we had to go meet these people around 12 o'clock that day. So I told him, me and my wife, we were finna go shoot a few moves and I'd get with you. He called me, so I left. Around 11, 12 o'clock, he called me saying, nigga, where you at? We know we got to go. And I'm steady bullshitting around, telling him that I'll be there. Come up to Juanita's, up at the club. So I go shoot my move around 3:30, about 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'm headed back up to the bar. He called me again before I head up to the bar. He said, I got to leave, I'll be right back. And I said, all right, I'll meet you up at the bar. Well, when he left, about a half an hour later, I left, headed up to the bar. I called him, I didn't get no answer from him, so I called the bar to find out was he still there. So I pick up the phone, they pick up the phone, I asked him where Otis at. I hear a lot of commotion in the back. People hooping and hollering and crying and shit, so I hang up the phone. They hang up on me and I called back. When I called back, they asked who I was. I told them who I was, and they told me that Otis was up there on 6 Mile and
Davidson and Woodward.
I mean, Davidson and Woodward. So I'm passing Davidson on the Lodge Freeway, headed up to the bar. So I make a U. I come up off the freeway, get up on Davidson. When I come off the Davidson freeway, I see about 400 people out there. And it was true, man. He was sitting in his car, man, in the driver's seat, slumped over, shot the back of his head, and that was a fucked up day, man. He was well loved out here, man, and fucked a lot of people up when we lost him, man. It's been 20 years this year, really,
And names still ringing, which
still
kind of tell you
how
good he was to people out here.
He was a beautiful person, man. Beautiful person, man.
And like I say, you understand, I was locked up at the time. And like I say, you understand, man, from I found out just about what was happening that day when my son was with him. Otis had just got a shipment. Weed, cocaine, and heroin.
Yeah, and the shit wasn't no good. And we were supposed to be taking it back, and the shit just got crazy, man. And I guess how they go, man. Jealousy a motherfucker. And one thing led to another, man. We lost a good brother out here, man.
Wow. And here, and then Wall Street was still going on.
Upscale
around there. Upscales down at
Fisher Building.
At the Fisher Building. Tony
Julius.
Tony
Julius.
So Butch was making some moves to kind of clean that money up.
Yeah.
And then, partner with somebody who ain't got nothing but clean money.
Yeah.
It was
it's a bad situation.
And like I said, Gene, hey, he's a hell of a guy. Gene, let me tell you something. You don't know who his hand is. He even owned the bar downtown, the White House. You understand? So you know what you understand. You know what you're dealing with Gene. You know, all I can say, number of good things about it.
So you know this has been, it'll be 10 years this December that we was here. We did the premiere for Motown Mafia. Let me tell you another thing to tell you about how Gene, stand-up guy. Well, you know, those who know, Gene owned the auto buildings on 6 Mile between Livernois and Hamilton, right? So the old man stayed in the master suite in one of his buildings.
Oh, we went by there. We just left there.
So that's the building the old man hustled out of, all through that Pakistani plug, all through that run in the Bahamas. That's where he was hustling out of that building.
And Gene kept his apartment the whole while he was in jail.
Daddy, that's what I tell him. Daddy go to jail, come back out. Everything's still the same. Still the same thing. And feds get so mad, they say, Courtney, you own that building. So I own that building. They think, how you keep going to jail, come back out? They don't move your furniture or nothing. But let me tell you the kind of guy he is. Gene, the old man was stashing money in the basement of the building. Gene fined $50,000 because he's old school like that. He do his own work, cleaning up. He filling around the building. He fined $50,000. He know it can't be nobody but the old man's. He came to the old man and said, "Man, I found this. I know it's yours. Here go the keys to the storage room downstairs, so you ain't got to go through all that, man." That's the kind of guy he is, man.
But you know, just like Courtney Jr. said, man, we was getting so much money, man, and we was forgetting where we got money at. Yeah. My son and my daughter, you understand, I done throw $50,000 to $60,000 under the bed, you understand, and forgot I had it.
I found garbage bags of money 6-7 months later in the basement. And you said, "Daddy, what you doing?" Yeah, he broke his hell. And I'm finding money all over the goddamn house. It's been there 6-7 months in garbage bags. It was some hell of a time, man. Some hell of a time.
Well, there'll never be no times like that. For real.
Never again. Well, we gonna get it again, Peace. We gonna get this movie together. We talking to some of the finance people right now, and we gonna make this happen. Because we gonna have Peace back again. He got been around his daddy and then seen again. You know, here what we doing at Big Boss and Motown Mafia with the whole family, you know. We've been at this for better or for worse all our lives. So we just trying to give it to people, you know, straight, no chaser. Because what we was doing got a lot to do with not just the history of the street, but as you hear, the business history of this city, you know, because in a town like Detroit, whether it's politics or business, the streets and all of it, it coincides, yeah. Love you guys. Go ahead and do anything else you got.
All right. Well, like I said, you understand, I'm going to call it today. It's more coming.
It was just time to really tell a great untold Detroit story because it kind of covers Detroit at its zenith.
Very interesting story.
We decided that we were going to make a movie.
All right, Rich Rossi with you with Motown Mafia. I'm with Courtney.
Louis Stevens.
Louis Stevens, Courtney Brown.
Courtney Brown Jr.
And Alan Al Prophet Bradley.
And this is an entrepreneurial, inspirational story, too, because, again, you know, I'm a real estate retail guy. You know, that's what my skill set is. But I'm a businessman, so I was like, you know, we're going to do it. You know, sometimes when you got a dream, you won't have all the answers on how you're going to do what you're going to do.
What made this one unique was not so much the crime, but the intertwining with Detroit's history and the Motown era and kind of the economic decline of Detroit. And it's really the story of a family. And from some perspectives, it has a happy ending, like you said. For others, it didn't have a happy ending.
Right.